In this video, I'm going to show you how to read the pattern for the dishcloth that I've written to practice double crochet, half treble crochet, and treble crochet. So this is what the dishcloth is going to look like once you completed the pattern that I've written so far. It's not completely finished. As you can see, the edges, the sides here, look a bit wavy, and that's completely normal, especially because we used 3 different stitches to make it. So don't worry if that happens to you, that's completely normal. In our next class, I want to show you how we can crochet along the side and then along the bottom and up the other side to make our dishcloth look nice and neat. So I'm going to show you how to read the pattern now. If you don't manage to get to this point in 1 week, that's absolutely fine. This is just if you like to practice, it's great if you get to this point. But if not, even if you only make 10 rows, then I'll be able to show you how to crochet along the sides, which will be helpful for any future projects you might want to make. So in the WhatsApp group, I'll just show you. I posted the pattern, so it's this one, dishcloth crochet pattern. And then usually in the beginning, the pattern tells you what materials you need for the project. So in our case, that's 50 grams of 100% cotton Aran yarn. And this is the small ball of yarn you have in your kit. So the brand is Rico, and it says Creative Cotton Aran. That's the one you definitely want to use if you want to use the dishcloth. So if you want to use it to grab a hot pan, or if you want to put something hot on it, then it's absolutely essential that you use the 100% cotton yarn, because that's a natural fiber and it's heat resistant, so it can handle the heat. Don't use this one. This is acrylic yarn, and that's a kind of plastic, so that's artificial material, and that melts if it gets in touch with something hot. Of course, if you prefer this soft yarn, then you can use it and just use the pattern as some piece of fabric that you make as a practice. Then it's absolutely fine. Just don't use it to touch anything hot. So that's the materials we need. Then we also need our crochet hook. It will tell you which size crochet hook you need. The 3.5 millimeter is the one that you have. And we'll also need a yarn needle, which you have in your kit, but I'll show you how to use that to weave in the ends in the end when we completed the project. So then it usually explains the abbreviations to you. This is these are the short letters that stand for each type of stitch. So if you want to make a pattern and then you see the abbreviations, you can already see if this is a pattern that you can do, or if you first need to learn another stitch in order to make the pattern. So the R stands for row, the CH stands for chain stitch, the very first stitch we learned to make the base chain, and the one that we make in the beginning of every row, or in the end actually, to start the new row. ST stands for stitch, which is any stitch that you work in. It can be a double crochet or any stitch that you made in the previous row that you work in this row. DC stands for double crochet. So that's the first stitch, the second stitch actually we learned in our first class. Half treble crochet is one of the stitches we learned today. and treble crochet is the other stitch we learned today. And then after each row, you will find that there's a number that's in braces, and this stands for the number of stitches that your row should now have. So once you complete a row, you can see how many stitches the row should now have, which is 35 in this case. And then if you want to be sure, you can count your stitches to see if you've done it correctly. So the next step are the instructions, and it starts with a chain of 36. So I'm using this lighter yarn, but it's the same brand. It's the 100% cotton Rico yarn. If you find any other yarn from the shop, you can always look on the back there. It tells you what the yarn is made of. So I'm just using this because it's a little lighter, so hopefully you'll be able to see it better. So like I said, it starts with a chain of 36. So we make a slip knot that we learned in the first class. And then we chain 36. So my row of 36 chains is complete now. So I can continue with the first row now. So just zoom in here. So the first row says double crochet DC in all 35 chains, starting in the second chain counted from your crochet hook. Then chain 1 and turn. So this is usually how it is when you start with a row of double crochet, which is very common because it gives a nice stable base for your crochet project. So as we learned earlier in the first class, we crochet in the second chain from our hook. So you count the first little V shape next to your hook and the second, and that's where you insert your hook. And then we make one row of double crochet. So this is the first one, the second, the third. If you need to recap the double crochet, you can go to the other video I posted last week. That's the first one with the pink background. So we finish the whole row in double crochet. Now my first row of double crochet is complete. It's going to look a bit wavy naturally, but if you pull it, then it should get a little straighter. So that's our first row almost complete. Now it says chain 1 and turn. So this is what we do at the end of this row, because the next row is going to be double crochet as well. And for the double crochet, we need to begin with 1 chain and then turn our work. So now we continue with row 2, and it says double crochet in all 35 stitches, chain 1 and turn. So that's what we're going to do. Just a little reminder, you find the first stitch if you're going to double crochet by counting the second to the second V shape from your hook, and under there is the first stitch. So that's your first stitch, and then this is your second, and all of these gaps are the following stitches. So now we double crochet another row of 35 stitches. Just a little side note, a common mistake in the beginning is that you skip one or a few stitches so that your row becomes smaller and smaller. And oftentimes it's the last stitch that skipped because it looks a little different and it's often smaller and a little tighter. So if you want to double check and make sure that you didn't miss the last stitch, you can just have a look, and there you'll find that there's still a little V shape left. So then you go under it and double crochet, and that's the second round done, almost. There's still the chains left to do. So here in the end of row 2 it says chain 1 and turn again, and that's because row 3 is also double crochet. So we chain 1 and turn our work, and we make another row of double crochet. Now I almost finished row 2 and it's curling up again, so after every row you can just stretch it a bit to keep it as straight as possible. So, oops. Now at the end of row 3 it says chain 2 and turn instead of the previous chain 1 and turn, and that's because in row 4 we're going to have treble crochet. So we finish row 3 with 2 chains like it says here, then we turn our work around, and now we continue with row 4. So we have treble crochet in all 35 stitches. So that was one of the stitches that we begin with a yarn over, and then for the first stitch we need to pay attention to crochet in the under the third little V shape from our hook. So 1, 2, 3, insert your hook there, then you pick up the yarn, pull it through the stitch. Now you have 3 loops on your hook, you pick it up again and pull it through all 3 loops. And then the next stitch is this here. So we yarn over first, insert our hook in the stitch, pick up the yarn, pull it through the stitch, pick it up again and pull it through all 3 loops. And that's our second treble crochet, half treble crochet, sorry, of the row done. So we complete the whole row with half treble crochet now. So now I'm almost at the end of row 4. Again, just stretching my work a bit. And then at the end of row 4, it says chain 3 and turn. And that's because the next row, row 5, we will treble crochet. So at the end of row 4, we chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn our work. And now we continue with row 5. So we treble crochet in all 35 stitches. So we begin with the yarn over again, and this time we work in the 4th little V shape, counted from our hook, 1, 2, 3, 4. Insert your hook there, that's the first stitch. Then pick up the yarn, pull it through the stitch. We have 3 loops now. Pick up the yarn again, pull it through the first 2 loops. Now we have 2 loops on our hook. Pick up the yarn again and pull it through the 2 loops. And then the next stitch is this one here. So we yarn over, insert our hook, pick up the yarn, pull it through the stitch, pick it up again, pull it through the first 2 loops, pick it up again and pull it through the remaining 2 loops. And we do this with the whole row. Now I'm almost done with row 5. So I just have the last bits to do, which is chain 2 and turn. And it's chain 2 because in row 6 we will do the half treble crochet again. So you chain 2 and then you complete the row in the half treble crochet that we did in the previous row in row 4. So if you want to continue with row 6 now, but maybe you don't remember what the half treble crochet was, the HTR, then you can go back and then you can either watch this video where it says half treble crochet, or up here Ben has shared this graphic of all the different stitches. So here you can find all of them and you can have a look at the pictures and have a little refresher about what all the stitches are. So then going back to the pattern, row 7 to 9 are all double crochet again. So they are all the same. That's why it just says row 7 to 9, 3 rows, because they're all the same. And once you've done them, row 10 to 30, you just repeat row 3 to 9 3 more times. So once you completed row 9 here, then you go back to row 3 and start from there again, and then you do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then you go back to 3 again, 3, 2, 9, and a third time. Then you'll end up with this piece of fabric. So there's no pressure at all. If you like to do this much, if you like to practice this much, and if you have the time, that's great, but don't worry about it. If you only have like 10 rows, that's already enough for me to show you how to crochet along the side here. And that's all that counts, that you learn it so you can use it in any project that you want to make in future. So I hope this helps. Let me know anytime if you have any questions. Happy crocheting. Bye.